Doghouse Cup Series is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of our West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar, and don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Simtrax Broadcasting as we bring you the Doghouse Racing League tonight on a track where we got to make right turns. Watkins Glen is where we are tonight for the Shoney's 110, and boy, we are seeing some of these guys through qualifying now, and it is pretty wild here. We're looking at Stephen Bonomo in the number 9 Toyota put down some laps. We did see a few other drivers out there. We saw Gary Clune getting some time, Bruce Martin, and Jonathan Jennings. And speaking of Jonathan Jennings, joining alongside me tonight, Douglas Ross. Tell me a little bit about Jonathan Jennings, because I am fairly certain he has overtaken the points lead here tonight.
Oh yeah, Jonathan Jennings has definitely overtaken the points in so many different ways, and right now, and I can even tell you with Andrew St. Cyr doing another start and park tonight, that's just going to increase Jonathan Jennings' lead more. But as of right now, this is a track tonight that's going to be very, very crucial to some of these drivers. Most in particularly, Jonathan Jennings is one of the drivers that has the most to lose if he ends up wrecking tonight.
Yeah, with a start and park for Andrew St. Cyr, that is absolutely detrimental to the Twisted Axle Racing team. I already see B-Mac out there in the chat saying he's rooting on Kevin, Gary, and Nicholas out there missing the number 12. Hate to see that going for him. Hopefully Andrew St. Cyr will be able to return as we take a look at our championship points starting here for tonight. Jonathan Jennings, St. Cyr sitting second, and Kevin Thompson right outside sitting that 15-14 mark. Very, very close with Twisted Axle to being in the top 5 pretty much all season. But Jonathan Jennings finally grabbing a hold of the very, very back end here of this season as this season is coming to a close. This is Watkins Glen, and I got to admit, there are so many treacherous parts out here on the track. And Douglas, tell me a little bit about some of the areas of this track that we're going to see so many problems from.
Most definitely. And I can tell you right now, with me being an in particular road course racer myself, Watkins Glen is one of the most tracks that I am very in particular with. Some of the corners, like first the 90-degree turn that we have coming into turn 1, that could be a very, very crucial part if you don't get your braking underway. And then there's 2 more in particular parts. Another in particular part is the S's, and that's going to be turns 2 through turns 4 going into the back straightaway. That's an easiest place for somebody to wreck if you don't maintain your throttle control and your braking turns. But I have a feeling, Patrick, where we are going to be seeing most of probably the little accidents that we have taken place is that inner loop, the one that takes place in turn 5 and in turn 6. That is one of the most crucial parts and one of the most in particular parts where you can't even pass on this track. So if you try to make a pass in that inner loop, it is certainly not going to turn out in your favor if you try it.
No, it is not. And a couple of drivers are trying to figure out how to shore up their race line here tonight. That bus stop is going to be ever so rough as we're taking a look at the S turns here. The uphill climb with a right turn, then the left turn. And I know personally why I race here. Normally I lose traction coming through the second turn to the left that tries to kick out on you. So a lot of things that you see drivers like Jonathan Jennings, Hunter Simpson out there, Kevin Powell, they spend a lot of time in gearing setups, and if there's a gearing too high, these guys are going to be shifting all night, and it's going to be shifting up, down, and it's going to be very, very difficult to find where that solid race line is here tonight and not lose any sort of traction. But let's take a look at what we've got here at the Watkins Glen track. 45 laps, 3 sets of tires down, pit, 70% fuel limit, and of course, absolutely no fast repairs. But here's the big key. 105-degree track temperature at this 2.5-mile track is going to be ever so crucial. And I've got to admit, talking to some of the drivers out there, only 45 laps. It's going to take a little bit, seeing that some of these drivers are about that 1 minute, 1:11 out there. As you can see, top of the chart is Jennings, Simpson, and Mike Samia. Not too bad from 1, 2, and 3, all riddled all by Chevrolets. But that fuel window is actually going to be between laps 32 and 35. So we should really only see one pit stop. And Douglas, I'll tell you, man, I don't think. Really, realistically, I don't think anybody will be taking tires tonight.
No, in particularly, tires really ain't going to take a really crucial part when it comes to Watkins Glen. I can tell you what is going to be a very crucial part, though, for Watkins Glen is the fuel mileage. And that right there, road courses can like really vary in fuel mileage like crazy. So, in particularly, we're definitely going to be seeing some guys do like different strategies tonight. I don't know what they have planned. So, but there's definitely a way where we can probably try to make it on one green flag pit stop, depending on what the scenario is. But I can tell you right now, be prepared to see these guys do different strategies tonight because it's really going to be coming into play tonight.
I would also question at how many guys, if they have calculated how much fuel they would need instead of coming down, let's say lap 30, and then topping off with just enough fuel to make it to the end and save a little bit of that weight savings there to allow, to promote themselves some more speed, or if adding more fuel would help with more traction in the rear end of these cars. But let's go ahead and get started on our starting grid here for tonight, where Jonathan Jennings and Hunter Simpson are sitting in the front row. Mike Samia and Kevin Powell will be sitting 3 and 4, and Bruce Martin will be starting next to Eric Warman. So looking pretty good for Warman. He's doing pretty well in the 113. He's looking for a fantastic finish tonight. Bruce Martin's 111 Ford out there is the one to break up the top 5 of those Chevrolets. Moving on to Gary Armijo, who will be starting in 7th position next to Duke Davis. Stephen Bonomo will be in the 9th position. We saw a little bit of his qualifying time, so the number 9 starting 9th, but he'll be next to Daniel Wilkerson. We're waiting for him to load up. There he is. There's the racing machine sitting in the 78. All right, we're looking for number 11 of Gary Clune, starting 11th. I'm wondering if we'll have any more of those tied up. Looks like we'll have Christopher Simon in the 27. He'll be starting in that 12th position. So that rounds us for the first 12. Let's find the back of the field where Mark Dumont is starting in 13th next to Kevin Thompson. Very, very far back start for the Twisted Axle Racing team of Kevin Thompson. 14th. Chris Leftwich will be 15th. Bill Gentry is 16th. Mike Leftwich 17th. And Ted Wisniewski will be starting in the 18th position next to Gary Madu. Will be in the very final position on this track. Now, I've got to admit, I'm probably going to guess here maybe some of the drivers are not going to take the field here tonight. They may have put down some qualifying or some practice time, and they may have chickened out a little bit. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but some of these drivers might be thinking, it just might be best if I sit this one out and not be any trouble out there on the field. I would personally say, get out there, give this thing a shot. This is your chance, and there's no wrong way of doing this. So it's hopefully it's going to be a great race here tonight. Only 45 laps, so it's not going to be too many here, Douglas. And I think a lot of these drivers are going to be ready and locked and loaded to take this one away.
Yeah, most definitely. And like you said, it doesn't hurt to try road course racing. I can tell you this, with me being a little bit of a road course racer myself, because I've raced on different road courses, it's not as bad as what it seems to be. If as long as you can manage your car and you can manage to keep control of like the track and everything, it's really not as bad as it looks.
Yeah, we're hoping to see just as good of racing as what we expect here from the Doghouse Racing League. Do give a shout out there to Shoney's and the Next Level Racing out there as well, sponsors here of the league. We're taking a look at Jonathan Jennings leading this one, and something in my gut tells me we're going to see a lot of that from the 91 Chevrolet. Also a shout out there in the chat for Justin McMahon, unable to make it here tonight, so he's rooting on his Loud Pedal Racing crewmates out there are going to be having a hard time this doing without him out here, that's for sure. But drivers following behind the Porsche pace car here as they head through the final few turns. Jennings and Simpson will be taking us away. I can't wait to see how this goes. Right now, I'm trying to see if Gary Clune and Kevin Thompson have had some trouble. I'm showing them right now sitting down pit road. So I don't know if something has happened. So that looks like that leaves me with a total of 14 drivers out here on the track. 91 machine's going to get a favorable angle here. Hunter Simpson right now has got to get caught up. Try to see if they can stack it up here at the line. And remember, first one to the right turn may be the one to take us through the S's. And what a fantastic run here by Hunter Simpson as we are under green flag. Out front we go, already sending it 3 wide here in the back. Bruce Martin waiting no time in the number 111 as they shoot on through. Jonathan Jennings makes the break, sitting first. Hunter Simpson will follow. Kevin Powell sits third. He's a little concerned tonight. We'll talk a little bit about that. Mike Samia is fourth, and Bruce Martin sits fifth. Drivers already strung out on this one. It doesn't look at it like any side-by-side racing, and no one's willing to take that chance heading immediately into a couple of these turns. But take a look at Daniel Wilkerson slides underneath Christopher Simon. Almost said Chris Leftwich, but I was incorrect there as we fly through the S's here. Right now, this is looking pretty solid. Cars are staying tacked up, especially on the tires being cold right off the bat.
Yeah, definitely right now, everybody is starting to single file out for the first start of the race, and it looks like Jonathan Jennings is wasting no time at all, gaining his lead a little bit with Hunter Simpson sitting in spot number 2. And sitting back in spot number 3 will be Michael Samia, as right now everybody seems to be holding their ground going into the turn.
Well, plenty of guys are going to be using every inch of the track. Don't be afraid when you see him jump over the curb a little bit to try to stretch it out just a hair to get a little extra, but you're going to, whoa, man. See somebody slide there right now. A lot of sliding around I've been seeing is from Bruce Martin. He is being all over the track right now, but he is trying to get every single inch. Locks up the right side tires. Off the road he goes. The 111 of Bruce Martin is going to loosen position on that turn. A couple of other drivers doing the same. Looks like Christopher Simon has fallen off the map here. Now has lost the position down to 13. So, boy, a couple of drivers having some trouble, but somebody who's not is Chris Leftwich. 6 positions gained, breaking into the top 10. Didn't take much as he works his way toward the front. Right now, I'm starting to think he qualified in the wrong position as he aims for 8th, shooting into the bus stop here. Already 1, 2, 3, and away he goes. That gives him now 7 positions. That Chevrolet is on a roll here, and we are already getting a 5-second gap between 1st and 5th place of Eric Warman. Not saying some of these drivers don't know how to drive, but at a road course, a couple of turns can make or break your race here.
Yeah, most definitely. Road courses can definitely make or break your race. But I can tell you right now, one driver who is currently making some noise right now, gaining a little bit of ground and trying to run the best laps he can, is Mike Samia. He is right now gaining on the 2nd place guy, which is Hunter Simpson. And it looks like Samia is trying his best just to keep track of the leaders.
As we begin lap number 3, he was actually fastest on the track for lap number 2 with a 1:12.66. But as the tires seed in, these guys will actually start to pick up a good amount of speed. I expect to see about that 1:11.6, if not 1:11.8 out there. And Jonathan Jennings, knowing that Caterpillar machine, he's going to sandbag it just enough to keep and maintain his speed on the track. He does not want to let anybody pass him, but Hunter Simpson, I would probably guess a lot of drivers are gambling, saying at number 5 may be the man to beat here tonight. We're looking to see if any of the Twisted Axle Racing team can show up here tonight and put down some solid time. Clune was able to get out onto the track right now with that number 11 Ford is sitting 16th, and Kevin Thompson, 15th position. He's sitting way back as well. And these guys are off almost an entire, at least a lap here is what it's looking like. 20 some odd seconds behind, and that, boy, if they can't figure out to pick up the pace at 1:15, 1:17 laps there, when you see Jonathan Jennings turn 1:12 and a half, that is not looking good. They're going to be lapped here before we make it halfway through this race. So not too shabby here from Jennings, still leading this one away. All 4 laps have been his. Hunter Simpson sits in 2nd. Samia 3rd. Kevin Powell reaching all the way back here, about 4 seconds, to the 93 Chevrolet, and Bruce Martin in the 111 Ford.
So a little bit farther back in the field, we do actually see, I did see a couple of guys grouping up, and it is back here between Mark Dumont and Mike Leftwich area. Oh man, Dumont really got loose off of that corner right now, trying to maintain control of the car. So it looks like Mark Dumont will end up keeping spot number 13. And right behind him is Mike Leftwich, who is also right now trying to maintain his position right now going into the S's.
Actually, Leftwich doing an awesome job as you see him sliding through those turns. I don't know how long those tires are going to handle that. Those Goodyears have got to maintain traction on this course. But as the track rubbers up, they will be able to gain more traction. And you wouldn't think that, with the heat in the tires, is as the track rubbers up, they're going to slow down a little bit and actually gain a little more traction. But there's kind of that sweet spot out there, Douglas. And once the tires get overheated 1 or 2 times, this thing gets super slick and it actually gets way, way too tight for some of the drivers out there trying to figure out how to maintain and stay out there in front. When they're trying to pass somebody, you've got to make sure you've got the traction and you're not braking or steering too much to try to offset each other. But away they go. We're taking a look at Mike Leftwich gaining 3 positions, sitting 14th in the number 60 Chevrolet. And right now, I think Bill Gentry is taking it down into pit. He's not returning. It looks like Gary Madu is in the garage in the 63 Ford and one Toyota of Teddy Wiznowski. So it's not looking very good. It's a couple of drivers already dropping off here. Oh, Daniel Wilkerson, we move up a little bit. It's at 12th. He's down a couple of positions, but that is still early here in the race. But oddly enough, the top 6 drivers have yet to change from their starting position here tonight. And Jonathan Jennings, who is still in the lead, still out in front, still nailing some solid times. So fastest time out there is a 1:12.04. He just ran a 1:12.3. Not too shabby here out of Jonathan Jennings as he continues to lead this race.
Yes, most definitely. And going through the whole entire rest of the field, Jonathan Jennings is currently your leader, and Hunter Simpson is in spot number 2. Mike Samia will be in spot number 3. Kevin Powell will be in spot number 4, and rounding out the top 5 will be Bruce Martin. In 6th, Eric Warman. 7th is Christopher Leftwich. Stephen Bonomo is right now in 8th. Duke Davis is in 9th, and Gary Armijo will round out the top 10.
A couple of drivers trying to find out if they can pass a little bit. Chris Leftwich is trying to run down Eric Warman here to see if he can break it up and leave the top 5 to being unchanged. A couple of drivers shifting around trying to see if they can find just a little bit extra out there on the track. And there's so many opportunities, but really only one line is what most drivers are going to tell you they can be. But the finishing positions tonight make or break this season here. And right now, I'm sure Kevin Thompson would love to have gotten a top 5 here tonight. I'm hoping he's able to recover from whatever happened early in the race, why he started from pit. Because next week we head to Daytona, and Daytona International Speedway is really when you end up at these super speedway tracks, it's a toss-up. Some of these drivers may be able to, who have been rolling around the back 20, unable to recover. But taking a look here, let's see if the 13 machine of Chris Leftwich can get him, and he does. Holy cow! Right now, the Shoney's number 13 Chevrolet rolling on through has picked up 9 positions, so he has passed the majority of the field here tonight. So he'll be looking for Bruce Martin next in the 1:11 Ford. But I'm still saying there's going to be a pit strategy here later on in this race.
Yes, most definitely. The pit stop strategies will be the make or break moment for a lot of these drivers. And like I said, there could be a strategy where you could only have to make one green flag pit stop. Others may have something else in plan, maybe for a caution or something. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Many drivers trying to figure out an extra little line. We'll ride along with Chris Leftwich here for just a moment and kind of see how he takes turn 1 here. I'm interested to see, because that seems to be where he's capitalizing the most, is through turn 1 here. I was talking a little bit about kind of how that shifting goes. We take a look, see if we get a peek of the dashboard here of how he flies through these turns. Yeah, you hear him have to check up off that gas a little bit, and that's why I was wondering if to make sure he has contact onto the track and doesn't slip on through, because that could be detrimental for him here as we take a look through the bus stop. So rough out there on the track, and with these low pro tires, you would think you'd see some faster times out there than when the drivers used to be back on the 10.5.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you're not seeing much difference in lap times, but it will once the track starts rubbering up, believe me.
Yeah, taking a look back off of Chris Leftwich's bumper here. Right now, he's looking back at Eric Warman. Warman trying to run him back down. Not looking too good. And somebody actually in the beginning of this season, closer to the front, we were kind of gambling that Hunter Simpson might win this race, as we saw him racing at COTA. And at COTA, you know, he started from the pits and was unable to recover from that, but he came all the way from dead last, almost half a lap down, and placed a top 5. So I can't wait to see if he can do that again here tonight. COTA was actually last season, because we started off with Kansas, Darlington, and North Wilkesboro here at this in this season. but still on the move is Chris Leftwich. He is running him down now, Bruce Martin that is. And right now, I'm wondering why his qualifying time was so bad out there for him not to start in the top 3. Seeing this, his best time was a 1:13 out there. He's still off by about 1 second off of Jonathan Jennings. And that may be where he's going to stop, up 10 positions, as he has got to make up, boy, about 4 seconds to catch up to Kevin Powell here. And another 13.5 seconds to catch the lead. So Kevin Powell trying to see if he can collect this one together. And, we had a little conversation here with Kevin Powell. And he said he already had some technical issues, if not mechanical issues as well, to his racing rig here tonight. So he is kind of, I would say, racing on an unfamiliar car out here tonight, as he is battling that car onto the track, trying to maintain some solid, fast times out here. But it's very difficult when you're used to a certain setting, when you're used to the car functioning in a certain way, it feels a certain way, and then it kind of gets wiped, about hours before you get ready to go. It definitely kind of toys with you a little bit heading into the big race.
Yeah, it definitely can toy with you if you don't have the setup exactly right. And I can tell you this, when it comes to road courses, the setups are really, really different. So you really have to, tweak the car a little bit where it's handling left and right, not just when it's going left. So just a lot of these cars could be tweaked different ways. Jonathan Jennings and Michael Samia and all those other guys, I mean, they could have the car completely tuned to a different point. But I can tell you right now, it looks like one guy that is definitely liking it is Mike Samia, because I think he is running a couple of fast laps. But that time, Jonathan Jennings right now is running the fastest lap, so maybe he finally got his car tuned in right.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be any problem for Samia. I think it would probably want to be one of his best finishes tonight if he can capitalize on what is happening out here. Already looks like some trouble back here. Mike Leftwich almost zinging toward pit and kind of juked us out a little bit there. I don't know if he's letting Kevin Thompson, who started 20 seconds behind, has now moved up to 13th. So continuing the charge here from Twisted Axle Racing Team, now up to 13th. Daniel Wilkerson will be next on his list. He's got to make up 4 seconds to catch him now. So far so good here out of Kevin Thompson. He's running a 1:13.41, which is really faster than most of the drivers around him here. So he's going to be catching up. Right now you see Armijo, he had a slower lap out there with almost a 1:15 mark. So he's got to, some of these drivers are starting to slack off, but the ones aren't. Obviously, the guys here in the top 5. So they have been on a tear here 90% of the night, but Kevin Thompson still having to make up a lot of ground here at the Glen. Let's see if we can find another driver out there. Duke Davis in the 85 Chevrolet here, as he shoots down the front stretch here into turn 1. A bunch of drivers you can see on our screen. Simon Armijo. Daniel Wilkerson looks like he's reeling Armijo in, as he's obviously, something's happened to the tires here. Armijo falling off big time. Wilkerson a little off track, but trying to use as much as he can. I know from when I raced out here, Douglas, when you come out of turn 1 and you sling it a little past that hump and use a little more of that track, I almost called it unneeded speed into the S-turns. Is you enter almost 10 to 12 miles an hour faster, and then it's extremely hard to keep traction through it.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the S turn, it's very, very crucial that you maintain your throttle, because too much speed, you're going to loop that car right around. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's this car or the Xfinity cars or the trucks at that race here. I mean, if you have way too much speed going into those S's, believe me, it will not be fun. You will loop that car.
Yeah, and it's a lot bumpier than it looks. Some of the drivers, you try to get going, and all of a sudden it'll kind of buck a little bit, riding, like riding a horse. It's just unable to keep a solid line and the car flat, and that's where you can't have the suspension too tight. It does have to have some bounce to it. Let's see if we can take a ride along here with Steven Bonomo here. Kind of see what we're talking about there. There's a little bump here, a little nudge there, and then right as it kind of drops off and the guardrail starts, the right side of the car will actually dip down a little bit. So if you start bouncing and moving around a whole bunch, it makes it very, very difficult to maintain traction out there. Kevin Thompson getting very, very close here to Wilkerson as he's reeling him in. Remember, we said it before, it was about 4 seconds behind. He's got him to within a second, and now less than that as he's reeling him in. Bus stop, fantastic turn for the 21 machine. Those gold rims might be paying off as he slings through the carousel, reeling in Daniel Wilkerson. So Wilkerson might have a mirrorful here of Kevin Thompson, but I don't know. Can Kevin Thompson come back? You know, is he able to throw enough fuel in this thing and try to recover from really a late start?
It's going to be very hard to tell, but I mean, I think the only thing that Kevin Thompson right now could rely on is a caution, because I think with him being all the way that back, I don't think he's going to have enough time if we don't have a caution.
Oh man, so I'm going to poke the bear here. How do we get a caution here at Watkins Glen?
Well, if somebody simply just loops the car around, or if somebody just gets collected in a wreck, because I can tell you this, by my experience, normally when a car spins around on a road course, it doesn't immediately bring out a caution, because they're in an particular part of the track where they don't think it's necessarily going to be like any threat towards the race. But basically, if we have like 2 or 3 cars gathered up in one big pile up, then that could be a different story.
I see what you're saying. I got another thing we can toss in there. There is normally a 17x limit or a 17 incident limit here at Watkins Glen. You race side by side, you nudge guys, you get 2, you slam into somebody, it's 4, you go off track, that's a 1. Ideas of going off track really through this turn here and popping to the right. I know if you get a little too far, it'll give you an off track, you know, and there's a possibility that some of these guys just might get DQ'd and don't want to be, and actually end up in a bit of a tussle out there and realize, oh man, I was racing really well, too many off tracks, and man, it's booted you and DQ'd you out of the race.
Yeah, and there's a lot of positions on this track where it would be considered an off-track incident. And particularly that 90-degree turn, if you go off of the track and cross over that white and red, or that yellow and red line that you see around the track, if you go over that, it will count you as an off-track limit. So some of these drivers have to be careful, especially going into that 90-degree turn, or even where they are right now, starting to go into that turn to the start-finish line. That can even be considered an off-track penalty. So a lot of off-track penalties are really, really into play when it comes to this track. That's why you don't normally see drivers going into that area in which we see like a normal NASCAR. It's because here it's considered an off-track penalty.
Last thing I want to do is have any kind of messy driving here at the Doghouse Racing League. But somebody who may have gotten into a mess, who I see is now taking it back to the garage, is Mark Dumont in the 114 Ford. Says he had some trouble actually way back here on lap 8. I do want to take a peek and see what happened, see if he fired through or something went wrong here. It says he ended up crashing. Whoop, boom. Hey, there we go. We just talked about that. No caution. Yeah, you thought that would bring out a caution, especially how close he was to the drivers out there. So 114 is down and out here tonight. 17th position is where he will end. Jennings still leading this race here, and interesting enough, Hunter Simpson's making up some time. Right now he's shaving off about half a second the past couple of laps. He was down over 2.5. Right now he's down to 1.5. So Hunter Simpson, the number 5 Chevrolet, starting to reel in his teammate here, and can he catch him? As right now we are halfway before we end up having to come down for fuel here tonight at the Glen. We'll see how this goes as the Shoney's 110 continues here with Jonathan Jennings in the lead, Hunter Simpson second, and Mike Samia third.
And then we got Kevin Powell, who was in 4th, and Christopher Leftwich still with an amazing comeback. Started in spot number 15, now is in spot number 5, gaining 10 positions, so good run for him. And then we have Bruce Martin, who is 6th. 7th will be Eric Warman. Stephen Bonomo will be 8th. Duke Davis will be 9th, and rounding out the top 10 will be Christopher Simon.
Yeah, Christopher Simon is 10th. We're taking a look at Gary Armijo, who is 11th, getting run down now by Kevin Thompson. Thompson has just passed Daniel Wilkerson a few laps ago, and now he's aiming for the Toyota of Gary Armijo, trying to see if he can get him behind right now. Ooh, man, good little block here. by Armijo, but watch Thompson. Thompson to the outside, seeing if he can sling through the turn, but unable to. Let's keep an eye on Kevin Thompson here and what he does through the bus stop. This is going to be a critical spot here. Oh, Armijo into the wall. Armijo is down and out here. Looks like he might have either he checked up or there was some contact with the wall. That didn't look good. But now Armijo slides to 13th. Wilkerson moves up to 12th. Armijo, boy, that looks like he's got something going on with the turning here. He might have some damage. We're not seeing anything from our angle here. But that leaves Kevin Thompson from 21 seconds behind to 11th. So B-Mac out there, don't go away just yet, because Kevin Thompson is making up the ground. Christopher Simon's next on his list. But I thought before, when we were looking at how much time he needed to make up, right now he's got less than 3 seconds before he can catch Christopher Simon. I think it's still doable.
It could very well be doable, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it's a very, very long way to go from 10th to 1st. So hopefully we might pull a rabbit out of a hat when it comes to that. But right now, the man he's going to have to focus on next is Christopher Simon, but leading the way is still Jonathan Jennings, and he is gaining his lead on Hunter Simpson.
Yep, trying to put that distance right back on him here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cut to commercial. We'll be right back. The Doghouse Cup Series is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of our West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar, and don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. "19 laps completed here of this 45-lap battle here at the Glen." Welcome back, everybody, to Shoney's 110 here with the Doghouse Racing League. We are taking a look at Christopher Simon, who was about to be under fire by Kevin Thompson. Thompson actually had him within half a second. Thompson, though, although trying as hard as he might, has started to slip up here in the past half a lap or so, trying to make up as much ground as possible. But the rumble strip's not being as friendly as he had hoped the past lap, and he has yet to pass Christopher Simon. Simon has gained 2 positions this race. Kevin Thompson has now gained 3 from his dismal qualifying time, but here still on the roll is Kevin Thompson. Biggest mover of the race is Chris Leftwich, who is now sitting, who is still remains 5th and is unable to get any farther than that. Right now, he is reeling in Kevin Powell, so there is still a possibility with that 2-second gap between those two. But right now, Kevin Powell through section 1 with a 27.95. Nobody has gone less than a 28, so Powell's starting to pick up the pace a little bit. And drivers with 25 laps to go here, we're starting to wait for that pit window. These guys have got about another 10 laps, and that's when guys are going to start kind of weighing their options. And Douglas, you know, you and I were both thinking, what if somebody pit now?
It would definitely change the play of the game, and definitely a different strategy on someone else's part.
Yeah, I would like that. I think if somebody pit now, they would make it to the end on that tank. They would never have to pit again, and that might be an option if some of these guys out there who are maybe a little farther in the back. Gary Armijo, we saw, ended up in a little bit of a situation a few laps ago. Might be a perfect time for him to come down pit, throw only fuel in it, a full tank. That's going to be what he's going to need to make it to the end, and then come back out on the track and blast this field. He's got to come out here and be flawless to the end, because right now Jonathan Jennings is doing an awesome job, and we called it. There's our first one. Chris Leftwich, who is sitting 5th on his way down pit now. Bruce Martin is going to stay out on the track. Around he goes. There's Eric Warman, Stephen Bonomo. Let's see what he decides to do. Out on the track, he's going to stay. So Chris Leftwich trying to trip this one up a little bit, and I love the strategy call. Something different, and sometimes I've seen so many drivers win races because what is the key? And the first thing they say is, I have to do something different. If I pit and I do exactly what everybody else is doing, I'm just going to end up in the exact same place I was. There's no race switch. There's no me picking up any more speed. There's nothing different. It's come down, try pit road. Sometimes everybody's taking 4, only take 2. I like when he's coming down. So right now, Chris Leftwich, first driver to pit on lap 21, and I've got to admit, 4-tire call for him. It's pretty gutsy.
It is pretty gutsy, but I can tell you right now, even those tires, he'll be good for the rest of the race. The only thing that he doesn't hope for is a caution, because that gameplay strategy can end up affecting him when it comes to a caution. But I can tell you this, very, very smart call by Chris Leftwich.
Yeah, I like it. Even if it were to bring a caution, he doesn't have to pit. Everybody else will come down and he will remain out. The caution laps will help his fuel mileage. Warman was getting ready to pass Bruce Martin there, was starting to put a few moves on him to loosen him up, but Bruce Martin on his way down pit road, and that's going to put Bonomo up to now 6th place as Martin is going to work his way back, and Kevin Thompson, not a bad call here, number 21 machine working his way on down, but I am curious to see what Kevin Thompson does on the pit strategy. Does he take tires or does he fuel and go? Because right now I have with him making up this amount of speed, the gaps he's been able to make up here on the track, this is huge for the 21 machine. It's yuck. Right now, terrible into his pit box here. That is going to be absolutely crucial, and I hate to see that happen for the number 21 machine. Came down, looked like he didn't make it far enough into his box, but the way it's marked, I can't blame him. There's nowhere to tell where these sections are. You see some lines, but they're kind of there and they're kind of not. So that definitely kind of kicks him in the rear end here. And Kevin Thompson has really got to hurry up, get out of pit, and get back on the track as he now resumes the race in 14th position.
Yeah, definitely a crucial make-or-break moment for Kevin Thompson. Very, very unfortunate for him. But right now, we're checking to see if anybody else will be coming down pit road now. And it doesn't look like as of right now we have no takers. Actually, speaking of which, we actually do have a taker. Christopher Simon's now coming down pit road.
Ooh, another driver there, another top 10 driver here. Christopher Simon is working his way down pit. I've got to admit, Kevin Thompson's now a lap down. So is Bruce Martin. So Jonathan Jennings still deciding to hang out here onto the track. But man, oh man, look how fast he is. Just rocking this track all the way around. And so far, he has been the man to beat, and it's not just here. The amount of races he's kind of been hammering it away at here has just been absolutely mind-blowing of what he has been able to do. So let's kind of count the amount of wins he has. He won at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the team Shoney's 180. Then we saw him win at Worldwide Technology for race number 6. And then he's won the last 2 races at Pocono for race number 9 and the Back in Blue 180 at Michigan International. And so far, Douglas, he is looking like he's lining up for another win here, and that possibly might be number 5 here on a 12-race season. That just kind of really takes the wind out of everyone's sails out there when a guy comes out here and just absolutely owns the season, and not just this one, the truck season. He owns the open wheel modified season. I mean, this guy is just almost unbeatable out there.
Definitely, and I can tell you this. He's pretty much, if you put him in anything, he can drive the wheels off of it, because you are right. Jonathan Jennings, he has been so impressive. And I know I came into the Doghouse Racing League late this year, but oh my God, this guy is impressive.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Andrew St. Coeur come back. It's not that I'm rooting against Jonathan Jennings, but I saw somebody out here that was getting ready to possibly put this guy in second. Possibly put this guy in third. And right now, the Twisted Axle Racing team looked like they had the team to beat out here. But unfortunately, a little bit of attendance issues. Andrew St. Coeur. Come on, man. But no, we wish Andrew St. Coeur the best out there. I know he's out vacationing with his family, and we appreciate that. Definitely, and hope he's having a fantastic time. I know the drivers out here on the track are, as Mike Samia. Check this guy out. Douglas, you've been talking about it a couple times tonight. That number 3 Chevrolet starting to reel in Hunter Simpson. And right now, Simpson getting nervous as he has a full mirror, not just the rear, but the left as well, as you see Mike Samia taking all of this track to reel him in. So far, so good, but about 4 miles an hour faster than Hunter Simpson here. Boy, what is Hunter Simpson going to do other than he's got to figure out how to place that Chevrolet just in a better line than Mike Samia is right now.
Yes, most definitely. Oh, and Patrick, we have a few more takers. Our leader, Jonathan Jennings, is down pit road, and following him, Mike Samia follows him down pit road.
That means Hunter Simpson might have a chance to lead a lap here as he remains out on the track, and so does Kevin Powell. Powell decides to stay out as well, putting him second. Eric Warman, he is yet to pit either. So Warman, Bonomo, Duke Davis, Daniel Wilkerson have yet to pit, and Mike Leftwich in the 60 Chevrolet. Leftwich actually a little bit off pace, sitting right now in that 10th spot, moving on through. But Jennings and Samia, the only ones to come down pit. As we're looking at Warman passing up on it. Bonomo, yeah, pit road for him. Making sure he's keeping a good strategy area and does not want to miss his shot. Duke Davis slings on by. Daniel Wilkerson stays out. So a couple of the drivers are deciding to stay out and not to stay out, but remember we talked before. I know I'm getting a run on here. Chris Leftwich and his pit strategy. He's now staying out, slinging on through, and now that moves him back into 8th. He was originally sitting 5th. And he's on a tear here. He pit on 21. Now he's gonna have that chance to try to get back where he was from some of these guys who did pit. Jonathan Jennings is only really about 33 and a half seconds ahead of him. If Chris Leftwich can put the times down he was early in the race, he might be able to reel Jonathan Jennings down.
Most definitely. And Patrick, I can tell you this. After watching the last round of pit stops, it is very, very interesting on what some of these drivers did. Because surprisingly, on that pit stop, Jonathan Jennings took no tires on that pit stop.
Yeah, 9.23 second pit stall time. And Hunter Simpson, the exact same thing, 9.43. So he's got to get back out there and in a hurry. As Jennings pulls past him now, got him almost a 2 second, 2.5, and continuing to roll on as Jennings shoots through the S's here as we move up to the front areas. There's Jennings, and there's Hunter Simpson coming on through the turn as well. So Kevin Powell, one of our, a couple of the only drivers yet to pit here. Powell sitting in the lead. He might be able to lead a lap here, and I would probably guess out of a top 5 points getter here, he's looking for 5 bonus points. At least here for leading one of these laps. I don't think if he's able to squeeze down pit road in time, 18 seconds might be enough for Jonathan Jennings to pass him. So Kevin Powell gets stay out. One more lap, 5 points in the bag for him now, and I guarantee we'll probably see him pit next time around as we only have 17 laps to go here at the Glen. And so many drivers are kind of, I'm wondering if they're starting to get tired. Some drivers, I've seen them race 50, 60, even 80 laps here at the Glen, and I tell you what, some of them say their arms are going to fall off. So 45, these guys should be pretty fresh and be able to make it to the end. But with an open setup and this being the Doghouse Racing League, it can take a lot more toll on your body than you would think.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And constantly shifting back and forth. This isn't normally what drivers are used to. So it's definitely going to wear out a couple of the drivers just by shifting. Your arms probably going to be sore.
I like how you mentioned shifting. I do not have paddle shifters on my racing rig. Is it key to have that here in the next gens?
Um, it really all depends on how you drive. I mean, me personally, I've tried both setups when it comes to the next gen car. I've tried paddle shifters, and I do actually have a sequential shifter that I can use, but to me, I think the paddle shifters are probably a lot more common because you can keep your hands right on the steering wheel and you can just shift down and shift up as you go. But I think the paddle shifters are normally the way to go when it comes to the next gen car.
I would probably say it's also a cheaper one too. That way you just keep it with the wheel. But taking a look at Mike Samia sliding underneath of Eric Warman there as Kevin Powell works his way down in the pit. Samia resuming his position back into third. But oddly enough, remember we saw Samia running down Hunter Simpson here. Samia decided to take 4 tires. And that has given him a 9.5 second deficit off the back bumper of Hunter Simpson. Simpson trying his best to catch back up to Jonathan Jennings, but Jennings might be coasting to the win on this one. I'm wondering where in the world Chris Leftwich is, because his time to shine is now, and he's got to hurry up, because even if this is a 2.5 mile track, 16 laps isn't going to be much, so he's got to start kind of really working the wheel here and getting these guys behind him as this race is really going to start coming to a close.
Yes, most definitely. Chris Leftwich definitely still has a little bit of ground that he has to gain on those spots there. But like you said, I want to go back to Hunter Simpson and Michael Samia. Excuse me. Hunter Simpson ran a 113 flat exactly. Mike Samia, he ran a 112.9, so not a big deficit, but he's managing to shave off the little times every single time.
Yeah, right now they could definitely use it. Hunter Simpson still remaining in second. If my ticker is correct, boy, look at that. Look at Mike Samia's time. 111.97. The only driver on the track to break the 112 mark into the 111. Samia is on a roll here. Right now, he might be thinking, hey, there's no problem. I can reel Hunter Simpson in. It was 9.5. Now it's 8.6. So a couple more laps like that, he's going to have him behind him instead of in front of him. But as I was saying a little bit before we were taking a look at Mike Samia's insane time there, if my ticker is correct, drivers who have yet to pit is Eric Warman in the 113, Duke Davis and Daniel Wilkerson. Those guys are sitting 6th and 7th. And then Mike Leftwich in the 60 Chevrolet sitting 9th. So we still may have a shuffle up here, Douglas, and I'm curious to see, if that is going to be what we see, is we still have 4 drivers who have yet to come down pit, and they have got to be stretching it out something fierce. As this, these guys have to pit with at least 10 to go, and it's time's ticking.
Yeah, most definitely, unless they're trying to pull a different kind of strategy, like trying to save a little bit of fuel, but saving that little bit of fuel ain't really going to matter because you're already in the fuel deficit.
Yeah, if you want to talk about something that absolutely breaks you and that, kind of breaks your heart as well if you're rooting on the driver, Kevin Thompson has returned back down to pit for the 3rd time. He was in pit for 55.1 seconds. I'm not sure. Douglas, see if you can grab a hold of something and let me know if Kevin Thompson had to serve any sort of a speeding penalty for that amount of time he sat in the box and was down pit lane for 1.5 minutes there, and that's going to kind of solidify him to that 14th position unless he can catch Gary Armijo, which is about a minute and 5 seconds ahead of him here.
As of right now, I'm going back just to see.
Yeah, showing right now Kevin Thompson did pit back on lap 23 for the 3rd time, trying to see if we can figure out what happened to him. I don't know if he was black flagged in any sort of that issue there. But Kevin Thompson's race may be coming to an end. Sea-Dog Plays will let you know what happened to Kevin Thompson. He did have to pit twice, and I don't know as to the reason why. For him doing such a great job out here on the track, if something happened. I don't see any damage to his race car, though, so I guarantee you he's driving with some authority and pretty mad, but a driver behind him there looked like he slammed into the wall. I think that was Steven Bonomo here. Whoa, shot through the bus stop there and hammered into the wall. Let's take another look at that. Whoa, look out. Oh, we did miss the wall. I thought he had clipped it there.
Patrick, it looks like we have a car around on the track. It looks like Gary Armijo may have just overcorrected the carousel. So right now, Armijo's losing a lot of ground.
Whoa! And that's 2 drivers so far in that same exact area that can go to hit that turn and then have spun out. So Steven Bonomo on lap 32 doing the exact same thing here. I'm trying to figure out his speed. Looks like he's just going too fast. You see the car not even turning. And Gary Armijo, the exact same thing to him as well. That is just terrible as he shoots through. He does have to go around, and that will have obviously set him a road course penalty, which then means he has to wait some time when he gets back out onto the track. But the 20 machine looks like no damage. He'll be able to return, but those slicked up tires are going to definitely play a big factor in how he runs here for the remainder of this evening.
Yes, most definitely. And I can actually give you an update on Kevin Thompson. It looks like it may have been a speeding penalty on the side of the 21.
Oh, man, and it's just one of those things, man. You try to squeak in there and be able to make that and make the speed. And what do they have to slow down to? Is it 45 here? I think it's 45 miles an hour.
No, I think it's 40.
Oof, even slower. So some of these drivers with their top speed around 185 here tonight, they are slinging off the final turn heading toward pit road. At least, between 75 and 90 miles an hour, and then you've got to slow down to 40 to creep into pit road and then maintain that speed. That is just nasty. Another driver coming down pit road. Eric Warman finally coming down, and so is Duke Davis. He's on his way down pit road. So far, everybody has pit. Daniel Wilkerson, we said before, he hadn't pit. He came in on lap 31. The driver who also came down as well was Mike Leftwich in the 60 Chevrolet. He came down on 33. So that should do it. Everybody has pit out here onto the track. Jennings, Simpson, Samia 1, 2, and 3. Kevin Powell still remains in 4th, and I'm waiting to see can Chris Leftwich catch him here. He's got to make up 11 seconds to catch it. Boy, and it kind of makes you question that in races like this, drivers just get so separated here. You know, that's where I vote for yes competition cautions. That's just my personal view. Because I love seeing these guys clump together and trying to shoot through the S's and fight. But right now for Jonathan Jennings, this will be an absolute no. Because it messes up his strategy. He's managing his tires, he's managing his fuel, and he's going to win the race because of it.
Yes, most definitely. And Patrick, I can tell you this. I'm keeping an eye on Mike Samia right now. He is coming.
Yeah, Samia's still doing some fast times out there. A 1:12.17. Fastest on the track was Hunter Simpson with a 1:12.16, but just barely getting faster than the rest of these guys. Jennings laying his fastest time through section 1, which involves turn 1 and the S turns with a 27.88. No one else has even come close to being that fast. So Jennings this late into the race picking up even more speed. This is quite an impressive show he is putting on here tonight. And I'm interested, day in and day out, in each race, what exactly he's doing to do that well, but we'll see how that goes. So with 10 left to go, everybody hold on just a moment. We're going to get another shout out from the sponsors. The Doghouse Cup Series is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of our West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar, and don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. laps left to go here at the Shoney's 110 at the Glen. Appreciate you guys joining us here at Simtrax Broadcast and Doghouse Racing League. We are riding along with Duke Davis, obviously a Star Wars fan here, racing behind the wheel of the 85 Chevrolet. Right now he is sitting 8th, began 8th, might end 8th if he can fend off Daniel Wilkerson. Wilkerson sitting back about 3 seconds, but is gaining right now. That number 78 is on a tear here so far. It's interesting enough to see all Chevrolets riddle the top 10 here except Bruce Martin's 111 Ford, who's sitting 7th, and Christopher Simon, followed by the rest of the Toyotas out here with Stephen Bonomo and Gary Armijo sitting 10, 11, and 12th out here. Douglas, we are looking at some drivers out here that are really trying to figure out how to come up with that little extra burst of speed late into this race.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the track has definitely gotten to a point now where it's definitely rubbered down. And at the beginning of the race, we were at 105 degrees. Now we're at 97 degrees when it comes to track temperature. So that's how much of a big difference it is.
Yeah, well, with the track cooling off the way it is, man, that thing is going to be extremely, extremely hard. I noticed it was about 11 miles an hour wind. Now we're back down to 6, 7 miles an hour. With drivers trying to toss this up a little bit, and with this track starting to kind of change, you know, any idea what kind of modifications these guys can make when it comes to a situation like that, seeing that this is an open setup league?
At the top of my head, there's really nothing much you can change. I mean, you can increase the tire temperatures, you can try and adjust the track bar a little bit if you want to, but really, when it comes to a track like Watkins Glen, there's only so much that you can do.
Yeah, I think if you're having to make a track bar adjustment, you were out of adjustment to start the race. Tire pressure may just be the only thing that you can do in these next-gen cars to kind of tweak it just a hair here to see if you can get a little different temperature to get it going. I think, you know, raising the tire pressure a little bit might assist in some ways, but you don't want to go too high because now you lose traction. You actually want to soften the tire up a little bit to allow it to grip onto the track more, but you don't want the tire to roll too and ended up with fear of cutting a tire. But so far so good. Jennings still leading this race by about 5.5 seconds. Do want to give a shout out there for our sponsors here of the league. Of course, Shoney's always joining along here with the Doghouse Racing League. Appreciate them coming on board for yet another season. We can't wait to see how the next season rolls out as well. And of course, Next Level Racing, I'm hoping they rejoin us as well for the next season, as this is the second to last race of this season. Speaking of seasons, we end the season at Daytona, so we are leaving a road course and going to a super speedway, and I bet you we'll have guys coming out of the woodwork for that one. I'm sure we'll have 20 to 28 drivers out there on the track trying to shoot to the end and make it all the way. And boy, I just don't know how well or how often these guys are going to be able to continue on being able to maintain speed and try to get as many points as they can here on our points leader, Jonathan Jennings.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Jennings definitely has a big, humongous point lead over the second place guy. But I mean, right now, we're going to Daytona next week. I can tell you right now, Super Speedway, just like Talladega, anybody can win, anything can happen. So that too could also be a crucial track for Jonathan Jennings.
Yeah, not too many drivers out here having problems here at Gary Armijo's around. Dang it. I was just getting ready to say, not too many guys had some problems out here. Chris Leftwich said he had a problem back there on 23. Let's see Armijo through the bus stop again. Oh, yep. That took him out. That looked like the same as Mark Dumont in this exact same spot. Says Chris Leftwich.
Just like I said, guys. Go ahead. Just like I said, guys, no cautions when it comes to single car incidents. So that right there was a no caution for Gary Armijo, and he may have pulled it to pit road. It looks like he might be done.
Yeah, that's it. We're looking at Chris Leftwich actually back there, actually a lot farther back on lap 23. This is why he's been unable to reel some of these other guys back in. This was before the Bonomo Armijo lap 32 scuffle that they had. But remember, we said how Armijo did, and we watched how he spun out here, heading through the turns. Right there, boom, into the wall. Stephen Bonomo had some trouble as well. Let's see, it looks like turn 1. Oh no. Oh yeah. Man, that would have been awesome if we'd been able to pull that on through. Alright, let's go ahead and get back to it out there. Sea-Dog plays already trying to see, asking for our points championship. Dude, not a problem. We can get it squared away. Check this out. Jonathan Jennings leading with 1641. He's about 110 points ahead of Andrew St. Coeur, not here tonight. Kevin Thompson, Christopher Simon, Daniel Wilkerson. So right now, I'm sure we're going to see a couple of drivers shuffling around here, especially in the top 5. As St. Coeur with another starting park here tonight. Thompson having a dismal race, as it was going quite well for him until the speeding penalty. Christopher Simon right now, he's sitting a lap down, sitting 10th. He's sitting 4th in the points. And Daniel Wilkerson, he's still on the lead lap, sitting 9th, but he's just barely on the lead lap. Well, excuse me, he's a lap down now with, I believe, Duke Davis in the 85. So now we're talking all the way up to Bruce Martin, who's 7th, trying to stay on the lead lap. But that is where all of our guys end up here for the points. Ending with Mike Samia there in the top 10. Gary Clune is 9th. Leftwich 8th, Bonomo 7th, and Kevin Powell sitting 6th. We got 2 laps left to go as we see Mike Samia trying to grab just a couple little extra tenths there as you see him sliding through turn 1. 2 laps left to go as the number 3 Chevrolet riding third most all of the night. Hunter Simpson starting to run in a little bit of lap traffic, and Jonathan Jennings still running away with this one. He's got this thing on a rail here tonight. We'll see if we can take a little bit of a ride along with him and see kind of exactly how it feels to be fast out here tonight. Alrighty, everybody, white flag is out. We are back. Taking a look at Jonathan Jennings here, going around for the final time here at the Glen. Shoots through turn 1 here into the S's. We're keeping an eye on him because right now this has been the man to beat. Jonathan Jennings through the S's. He'll straighten up here, take a slight right, and then down for the straightaway as he shoots down. And this is where everybody starts picking up a bunch of speed. There we go. I'm going to try to load your screen up here at some of the speed that this guy is doing out here on the track. Right now, Jennings super fast out there. Goes through the bus stop, no problems. As he heads through the carousel, only about 3 more turns left to go here, Douglas. And right now, Jonathan Jennings is rolling on.
Jonathan Jennings is rolling on, going down the back straightaway right now. Going into the turn, it's just impressive how he managed to do it on this one set of tires. Don't know how he did it, but man, the guy sure does know how to get it done. Here he comes on the final corner, going through the front straightaway. Checker flag is in the air, and it looks like the winner here at Watkins Glen, it will be Jonathan Jennings.
And Jonathan Jennings, fantastic job here at the Shoney's 110. Followed up, second place will be Hunter Simpson, just now crossing the line, and Samia, boom, third place for him. That is going to do it here for our podium position drivers. I got to admit, I still think that Kevin Thompson had a heck of a shot here to be fast tonight, Douglas, and I don't know how that's going, how this plays out and what this means for the guys at Daytona.
It's definitely going to be an interesting story in the final chapter of the Doghouse Racing Series season.
Yeah, we'll keep everybody apprised of what is upcoming. Don't forget to check out the DoghouseRacingLeague.com if you guys are willing to join. Right now, Jonathan Jennings might teach you a thing or two about speed and how to race. Definitely road courses are one thing. Boop, there you go. And that is a friendly tap, not a, hey, butthead, but he taps him and says, man, great race, because you were the one to run down here fantastic race by these guys. It was definitely a show they put on and know exactly what they needed to do. And it just shows how much practice pays off here. So fantastic. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with some of our drivers here. Jonathan Jennings being one of them. Hopefully Hunter Simpson and Mike Samia. Hopefully these guys will be able to get caught back up with them and definitely have a conversation about what in the world is going on out here tonight at the Glen. This has been a absolute clinic put on here by Jonathan Jennings, but good luck finding a room to do a burnout here, buddy, because it is so close. All right, everybody, hold on just a moment. We'll reel our drivers down and have a little conversation. All right, everybody, we have caught up with our third place finisher, Michael Samia, the number 3 Chevrolet. Dude, what a race here tonight. I know you tumble around in the backfield of some of these races, but not at the road course. Tell me, what did you do to that car here tonight make you so fast?
Man, pretty much me and my team, we just practiced all week, man. And I hit something there, and it worked, and I just stuck with it. Me and Jennings practiced a little bit. He was faster than me, and I knew it, but I was just going to try to hang it out.
You were the only driver to break into the 111 mark here tonight. It just was an absolute treat to see the number 3 Shoney's come through on this one. You know, you and Chris Leftwich both were really on a tear here tonight, and I was questioning, if Chris Leftwich ended up having a bad qualifying time. But what could you have done different here at the Glen to kind of get you that extra little speed and put Hunter Simpson behind you?
So really what hurt me there is I took 4 tires. They didn't take any. So that put me 7 seconds back. I think I had the car to hang there.
Yeah, if you had to take it back, would you not take any tires at all?
Yeah, I wouldn't have took tires because I was running about the same.
All right, well, it looked like you started reeling these guys in. You were starting to make up a good bit of time trying to reel them back in. But, man, we leave the road course and head to Daytona. Talk to me a little bit here about, do you end up – I'm trying to figure out how to say it here. How do we leave a road course and move to a super speedway here and then figure out how to come out on top?
Oh, man, just practice. I've got a lot more options to practice now than used to, so it's getting a little better for me. So that's all we're going to do. The teammates is going to practice, and we're going to make it right for next week.
Shout-out time, brother.
I just want to give a shout-out to my son. He watches this, and, some friends that watch it. And I want to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's pretty cool. I watch them all the time. And thank Daniel and them for putting this together. I enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't wait to see how this next season comes up and how it forms. Definitely appreciate you hanging out with us, Michael, and we'll catch you next race.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, that is going to move us on to Hunter Simpson. Definitely a tumble up there for Hunter Simpson. Was super fast out there onto the track. Hunter Simpson, talk to me about this race, man. Jonathan Jennings was super fast. What could you have done?
Nothing really. He had the long run pace, and I was just happy to be here tonight, and I'm really happy he got the win. It was a great team finish.
Dude, it was awesome here, man. And it's interesting enough when we talk all the way back, let's say lap 26, 27, where Michael Samia started reeling you in. Was there any chance or any doubt in your mind that you were not going to get second here tonight?
Uh, Not really, no. I was just kind of going at my own pace, and I was just focused on hitting my line and racing the track and not anybody else.
No tire call here in the race is definitely what separated you and Michael Samia. What could you have done to get Jonathan Jennings behind you?
Uh, Nothing really. Even if I had more pace than him, which it was very unlikely. I'm not sure I would have went up there and tried to battle with him because he's trying to win the championship, and I'm just here part time. So I'm really happy with the second, and but he was way faster. I mean, that's just John, man. You live and you learn, and he's a great teacher and a great teammate.
Yeah, he definitely can do something crazy there. I was nervous that uh, turn one, and then that's all she wrote. You had a fantastic start right off the bat, and I was like, oh man, Hunter Simpson's here to play. Because if I remember back right, if I reach way back there in the back of my brain, Coda was the last time I saw you at a road course, and I thought you should have won that one. What's the difference between Watkins, Glen, and Coda here?
Well, Watkins Glen, I actually didn't start from the pit, so it helped me out, but it didn't change the result. But it was a great finish either way, and I hope it was more exciting than Dakota was.
Road course, and we head to a super speedway at Daytona. Talk to me about it. Are we going to be able to make it?
I'd like to, but I can't promise nothing. You know how it is, man. It's just I love racing, and I just got to get enough practice into to where I know when I show up, I have a good shot at the win. And if I can't do that, then I'd prefer to just sit out and just take the time to get right.
Oh, man. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you in at least with another top five finish if you are able to show up. Hunter Simpson, shout out time.
I want to thank you guys for the broadcast, all the admins and the league owner Daniel. Everybody works really hard, and it's a great league. And all my teammates, they're a blast to race with, and they make all this so much more fun than it already is.
Oh, yeah, man. We're definitely trying to make you guys look good, too. Hunter Simpson, appreciate you, buddy. And hopefully we'll see you for the end of the season finale.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that is Hunter Simpson there as we quick reel in Jonathan Jennings. Don't want to wait any time as he didn't want to wait any time as he comes away with the Shoney's 110 here at the Glen. Jonathan Jennings, talk to me about this race, dude. This was all you tonight.
Well, I like road courses, but I really need to work on it some more.
You were not the fastest on the track, though. I would probably say about 5 thousandths of a second, Michael Samia was able to beat your best time out there. I'd have to ask him what he did, and he says ask you because you were the fast one tonight.
No, I was going. I was trying to just pace myself and keep a little bit of comfortable gap, but they wouldn't allow me to get out there too far at first. I was very uncomfortable through the bus stop, and I was all right everywhere else, but that was like I almost lost it a few times through there, so kind of ruined my race through there.
Well, Stephen Bonomo, Gary Armijo, and I believe it was Mark Dumont lost traction as well as Chris Leftwich through the bus stop. Seems to definitely be the hardest part of this track. Very, very often we see drivers try to offset their driving style, slow down through the bus stop, but you really didn't. You kind of actually picked up the pace a little bit later on in the race. How was the track temperature and things changing out on the track? Did it help or did it make it worse for you out there?
I felt good there near the end. I didn't take tires on my pit stop, so that was the original plan anyway. But so slick on new tires, and it got real good there. The last 10 laps or so, I was comfortable, more comfortable than I was the whole race. So.
All right. right, man. Well, we'll see how well you do at a super speedway track, as you have captured the points lead late in the season. Normally we see you run away with it after after race number 5, but this gives you your 5th win here of the season. We'll see how well you do at Daytona. Shout out time.
You guys for the broadcast, Daniel, and all the admins for all the races every week, and teammates, of course, and series sponsors, Shoney's, and Next Level.
Yeah, Jonathan Jennings in the 91 Chevrolet. That Caterpillar machine was on a roll. Congratulations on your win here at the Shoney's 110.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that is going to do it for us here tonight. Douglas, we have seen a wild race here tonight with the here at the Glen. We head to Daytona, and I think it's going to be anybody's race heading into that one.
Yes, it's definitely going to be anybody's race, and I could tell you it's going to be a make-or-break moment for a lot of these guys when it comes to championship points or even getting just the first win. This is going to be it. If you want to make something happen, it's got to be now.
Yep, well, we'll definitely see. Take a look on your screen, everybody, for your favorite driver and figure out where they ended up. That's going to do it for us tonight, though. You will be able to catch us next Thursday for the season finale at Daytona. So many drivers are going to be locked and loaded for that one. I wish I could be out there, but, with the way we see these guys drive, there's absolutely no way I can keep up. But that's going to do it for us. Douglas Ross joining alongside me here in the booth. Patrick Morrison, we're going to head on off. See you guys next time.